and welcome back to Bill's Retro Stuff. Today we are going to put this PC back together and see if she runs. Hopefully she works. First of all, I want to kind of show you the case a little bit. I cleaned the case up. I don't know. I cleaned the case up. If you look at it, it actually cleaned up pretty good. No yellow. I mean, we've still got some scratches in. I don't think I can get rid of the scratches as much, but other than that, the case really cleaned up quite well compared to what it was. It was pretty dirty. This stuff here, when I was cleaning it, I tried to get that off, but this is where it rubbed up against the metal over time. Don't know. I've tried everything to get it off. You know, basically what I did is I basically give it a sprayed it down with some windshield washer solvent, and then to get the rubber stuff off, I've run some WD-40. If you remember, there's some black pads on it where the monitor is sitting. The monitor they had sitting. I went ahead and took some WD-40 on it, and then I took some alcohol and and that cleaned up pretty good. Let me see if I can, I know we've got a little bit of extra scratches, must be from the case. Let's see if it'll come off. No, I didn't think so. These scratches are actually in. I've tried magic eraser and stuff like that, but that just will not come off. So that's just how that's been, I guess. So that's alright, we'll live with it. Still, it's pretty good. It's not yellowed, which I'm happy about. You know, I don't know if any of this stuff here has actually ever yellowed. I've never had. I've got a couple other Tandy type of computers, and they've never yellowed. So, without ado, let's go ahead and start putting some of this together. So let's what I want to do here. Yeah, metal falling everywhere. What I want to do is go ahead and put the hard drive together, and on the CD-ROM back in, and whatever else. So let's use the CD-ROM. And here's the floppy. Okay. And let's go ahead and put it back together. So let's go ahead and slide our hard drive in. And I'm thinking this is the this is the rear, this is the front. It's got a screw there that holds it. So let's go ahead and slide our hard drive back in. Okay. We'll flip it around. We'll put our hard drive back in. And we'll put our, let's get a number 2 here. Go ahead and put our hard drive back in. Okay. There we go. Get that screw hole lined up first. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and get all of the screws put back in. I always like to keep as much original. I don't care much for these type of screws for a hard drive. I always like the little flatter ones. But panhead, I assume, is what they call them. But we'll go ahead and put the hard drive back in. So now we'll go ahead. We know this is the front, so we'll go ahead and we'll put the disk drive back in. Okay. And they take the smaller screws, panhead screws, and these are a number 1. We'll go ahead and put that back together. Make sure I'm in the frame here. If I don't get in the right frame. That's something I'm still fighting. So hopefully I'll get down and get this stuff down pat. In my video, I cleaned up the disk drive and the CD-ROM. Nope, that's not the right one. Wrong color. Alrighty. Oh, I could speed it up, but let's just take our time. Okay. Now the CD-ROM. Put it back in here. And these are these type of screws here. Next screw, here we go. Alright. One more. I think we've got that part in there pretty decent. Extra there. And there's the floppy drive, CD-ROM slash hard drive. So we'll lay this aside for right this point. And our next one, we'll pull up the motherboard tray. Here's the motherboard tray. Cleaned it up as well. That's just, I don't know what that is, but it didn't really affect anything. So I cleaned it all up, give it a bath, a little bit of water, soap and water. So we'll go ahead now. And we'll go ahead and we'll put this thing here back in where it belongs, up here in the front. I'm going to zoom that out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Like so. She slid in just like that. Alright, let's turn the soldering iron off on our unit. So there's that. Slid that right on in there. Just slide in and it clips in. And now we'll go ahead and put the speaker back on. I don't need to solder now. Lay that back a little bit here. Okay. Now I need the speaker. The speaker goes in here. Get my head in the way here. You gotta be able to see what's going on over here. There we go. And this is here. There we go. Got a ground strap there, and this plugs in on the motherboard. Okay. There that is. Now, I say let's go ahead and let's put in that motherboard here. Yeah, I wasn't quite prepared. Should have been a little bit better. But that's okay. Alright, there's the motherboard. And we'll go ahead and get ready to put that motherboard in here. One of these days I'll clean up my mess in here. Okay. This motherboard, there's a assume it's the ground these. Almost like your, it's almost like the I/O shield on a regular computer. So go ahead and throw that back down in here. Make sure that goes in its holes just fine. There we go. There we go. 2, 3, 4 screws. We'll go ahead and put those in. Let's see here. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Here we go. In the old days, when I used to build computers, they used to have fiber washers. I never understood why they needed fiber washers for. Maybe somebody can answer that question for me, but we used to put fiber washers in to make sure everything was where it needed to be, or underneath the screw heads here, which I always thought was kind of silly, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Okay. Here we're going, and this here probably makes me feel a little better. There we go. Gives me a little extra wire. Probably how it was. If I actually go back and look at the video, it's probably how it was. Okay. Now I think the next thing we want to do is we want to put the power supply in. So put the power supply in. So the power supply is here, and we'll go ahead and put it in. I do have new power supply in case this one doesn't work for some reason. Okay, go ahead and put these 2 screws in first, and then I'll come in and put the other one in. And then we'll tilt it up on the edge for you. And we'll go ahead and put the other screws in. The speaker should be safe because it's in a shroud. And we'll put, it only has a 145 watt power supply, so we may end up doing I've got a 300, and we may end up putting a 300 in there. I got some sticky there or something, but we'll clean that up here in a minute. I thought I had it all cleaned up, and I mean, you know. Oop, whoop, whoop, whoop. Camera. Camera. Alright. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to loosen up these screws again. Make sure this is where it needs to be. So everything should be seated where it needs to be seated. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put the power supply in here. The nice thing is it can only go in one way, so you can't put it in a way it's not supposed to be, because if you look at this on the power supply, I don't know if you can see because my camera's up here, but there's a pin on this side and a pin in the middle, or close to the middle, and it only go one way. Most of the time the jumper pin number 1 goes here, or P connector 1 goes here, and connector 2 goes right here. Okay, and that's how that goes. So let's go ahead and flip this around, and let's go ahead and put the power switch in. So let's go ahead and take the screws off. I put them in here so I wouldn't lose them. Okay, and here's the second one. Okay. Alright, I'll try not to bump the camera. Slowly getting all my stuff where I want it. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to cheat right now. I'm going to put this in upside down. It's not really upside down. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me come on down on over here, make sure we're inside that frame here. Okay, now let's go ahead and zoom it down just a little bit. Alright, put the ground clip under the thing here. I need a number 1 screwdriver. Go ahead and run a screw in so we can line everything up. We'll get into some repair. That's actually backwards, because if you can look at the, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but if you look, I need to go the other way. There we go. And I like to have it down. We do have a few other power supplies I've got to work on. So, you know, we'll get into doing more of that when I can spend a little bit more time on that. Most of the time is just trying to find the because, you know, doing power supplies, they're not the some of them get pretty complicated. This in here is not as complicated as some of them. I can't remember if they call that a half wave or what. I don't know if that goes under there or not, believe it or not, because I'm sitting here looking at it and I don't think that goes underneath there. I don't think that goes underneath there at all, because that shoves the switch at the wrong angle. So apparently it must have went underneath here when I put the screw on. That's why it's so okay. Yeah. So that's what happens. Usually what I do when I take things apart, I usually take pictures. I did not take pictures, and because I took video, and I don't have the video in front of me on how that exactly was. So I'm pretty sure this here goes up into here somewhere. And we'll ground it regardless. So, all right. So there that is. So now, what I want to do, I thought maybe it was over here, but I think it does go here. When I put the screw in, I think this goes on the front of it. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and put our cables in. So I'll put all the cables here real quick. So you have floppy drive and a hard drive. So the floppy drive, the one with the bend in it's always drive A, and this here actually has a number on it, so that goes here. And you can't really mess it up, because if you look, there's a pin there that goes into the slot here. But if it doesn't have it, pin 1 is always the one. If I can find it here, and I can't say that. Usually has an arrow on this corner here, or it's the blue line. So pin 1, or the red line. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's blue. So we'll go ahead and okay, there's the floppy cable, and we'll do the hard drive cable. And the hard drive cable. Now the hard drive cable in this does not have that, so you just got to look for pin 1 on the motherboard, and pin 1 is right over here. So like I said, on the blue or the red, see this is red in this case, that's pin 1. So that's pin 1, and it goes, let me think here, apparently that must have been how it went right here. So pin 1. So now the cables are in, ready for the floppy and stuff. So let's go ahead. We'll put the floppy and hard drive and all that. The caddy, should I say. The caddy in. Well, you know what? I've got to stop for a minute, because there's one thing I forgot to put in yet, and I have not put in. And I need to do that. That's a good thing. Is the power LED. The power LED goes over here. So we will pull this out of the sleeve here. Okay. And that goes back down in its little hole. And then the LED just snaps right back in its little hole. And this goes all the way down. And goes to LED, wherever the LED is. Hard drive LED, power LED. Now the funny thing is, so we're going to see if that is correct. It has to be correct because it can't be well, it might be the other side. Pin 1. So again, let's look at see if there's an error on pin 1. And they don't have an error on pin 1 on this, but we're going to assume it goes this direction. And if it doesn't, then the LED won't come on and we'll just flip it around. Alright, now, okay, we got the LED in. The LED's back in. I'm going to go ahead and tape it. I've got some tape here. We're going to tape that in. Let me get up and get that. I was not really thinking ahead on this part. So, let me turn around here and let me get a pair of scissors here. And let's tape that here. If you ever do any electronic work, or especially the new stuff, because a lot of the new stuff is taped, doesn't hurt to have a little bit of this tape. This is a lot of the new computers, or not computers in general, but new products have a lot of tape in it for whatever darn reason, but they do. I've got a story about that, but I probably won't ever tell that. It'd be a little, I don't know what you would call it, but a little story about something that happened a long time ago. But all right, now this is going to be just a little bit more trickier. So what we're going to do is, well, actually, I tell you what, before I put that in, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. Let me look here. I need the riser and the center bar, which I have the riser right here. Riser and the center bar. I got to put it back together. So we'll go ahead and slide it back in. Okay. And then the bar, because the center bar, this bar here, I did clean that up, but it's just so tarnished over time. And it's funny. You can see the oils over time from whoever assembled its fingerprints. So if you had any way of tracking fingerprints, well, good luck on that one. But you could very easily, this has to go in between there. And then we'll pop this down where it belongs. Okay, latched in. There we go, because I got to have this in order to put the tray in. I thought about grit blasting this, because I've got a grit blaster in the other room, but I thought, you know, why bother? You know, what they call that, patina. Now let's take a look at the again. Let's go back through here. Now let's see what we got here. So first of all, let's go ahead and plug the hard drive line in. Again, you got to look for pin 1. So pin 1's on this side. So pin 1. Well, actually, this one here is kind of nice because it has a pin, so it can't really go in the wrong way. So let's see here. It's kind of unique on how they've done this. So we'll go ahead and slide that in, and we'll go ahead and give it these power supply numbers. We'll do the lowest power supply thing. So there's that. Now the nice thing is I can probably go ahead and just sit that right in here for right this second, and we'll come around. You know, the new computers, everything has to do with, you know, everything has to do with, you know, cable management. My computer upstairs, I cable managed. Learned that, believe it or not, from Jay's 2 cents actually. That's how I learned, because I haven't, at that time I hadn't built a computer in forever, and I wasn't quite sure exactly how to do that, should I say. So this again is pin 1. You don't have the 5-pin one. It has this thing here, but if you look in the disk drive, it's got a little slot there, so you can't plug it in upside down. You can only plug it in one way, so we'll go ahead and plug that in. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and pull all the cables off of the sound card here while I'm thinking about it, so that we can take a look here. Alright, so now the CD-ROM, we'll go ahead and plug the audio cable in, which is a kind of a fancy cable right here. A lot different than some of the CD-ROMs I've been used to seeing. A lot of them have their own. They have so line up pin 1, usually have the big black connector onto the ROM. This here does not have it. Now, the thing about this is what I want to do here. So we'll go ahead and pull the floppy drive power cable up, and it only goes on one way. Yeah, the only bad thing about, like I said, the older cases is you can't power manage them, or you can't cable manage them. So I'm going to try to tuck this down, because I'm trying not to block the airflow with everything. There's no way to cable manage like you would like to, unfortunately. Alright, now let me turn this around and see what we got here. Alright. Alright, first of all, I need to ground that cable, and I'm thinking now, looking at that, this cable grounds here. So we'll take this screw off. I don't think you can see it because I'm too far ahead of my camera. This case is bigger and I don't have, but anyway, I'll pop it up here in a minute. As soon as I get this, let me go ahead and get the screw put in. There we go. And let me go ahead and set this down here. Okay. Can't go up there. Alright. Alright. I know what I've got to do here. Yeah, this is the part that it's kind of screwy, because I did not pay attention to what I needed to pay attention to when I tore it apart. And I had thought about stopping that video and trying another one, but we're not going to do that. Alright, there it is. Now we'll go ahead and pop that down now. There we go. Sure this is all seated, and it's not. It's got to go. There we go. There we go. There we go. This here goes to the ROM. Anyway, so there that is. We're going to go ahead and take this cord, and we may do some wire tying and do zip tying and changing around a little bit, but we'll just leave it there for a minute. So anyway, what I was trying to hassle with is where this ground screw went. And I'm assuming it goes there, so what we're going to do is, because the tray actually seats there, so I was trying to see if I can at least keep it off the thing, which we did. Alright, there we go. Alright, so if you look, that's all done, and the speaker's all set, everything's set up in there, ready to go. So now let's go and do I'm on my screwdriver there. Now let's go. There's no screws that hold that in, which is alright. So let's go ahead now and put our memory in. A little funny thing about memory was I thought this took 30-pin memory, so I have 30-pin memory, but I didn't have. This memory here is considered EDO memory. So I had to order some memory off eBay, and it's not too expensive. I think I paid $15 with free shipping. So thing is, I look for this style chips where we had the smaller ones like this, these type of chips. Some of them had the EDO, which were longer chips. That's kind of newer. I really was expecting this machine for some reason to take